I have you set on a tripod and you're like 50 miles away and I have you zoomed in. This is the best I can do for the shape I'm in. And I thought I'd just sit here and stitch on my wolf and talk to you guys, trying to get all these red marks done and just chat it up since I can't do this freaking live. And they said that I can't have live, and I think it's a 90-day grace period. But if I don't know what's wrong and I can't get a hold of them, how am I supposed to know how to correct it? YouTube is very bad about getting a hold of. I'm not going to hold my breath that my inquiries will be known, because they give you the links. If you have a problem, you think we made a mistake, call or click here. It just sends you in circles. So if you guys have any ideas of how to get a hold of YouTube properly, let me know. But I did leave. I looked through the community guidelines. I went through the questions and answers. Kept telling them it was no, 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 and didn't help me. And so I just finally found a place to where I could put in my 2 Qs of what the heck. Not too worried about it. It just hurts when you're trying to establish a channel and their AI mistaken something for something. So unless it was one of the individuals that I blocked or took out for 24 hours that worked for YouTube and didn't like it, and they were acting like jerks and picking up on me, you know, the whole thing. So I can't control that. It's unfortunate that others have to ruin it, but if I don't get live, I'm not going to fret about it. So anyway, I'm sitting here and trying to do this wolf, all the red marks. And in my little craft room, I usually keep the door closed and the heater going. But this time I have the heater off and the door's propped open just a little bit. And my oldest cat, Ziva, she's 9. She comes in and she'll meow, and then she'll leave. And then she'll come back, meow. Well, what she wants is she wants to go outside and eat grass because she's got a bad stomach. I have some syrup that I use for adults, the nausea relief syrup from Walgreens. It's cherry flavored. Otherwise, she'd be throwing up several times a day and whatever. And I've taken her to the vet and done all this, that, and the other. And of course, they're all dead ends. You know how it is. They assumed it was acid reflux, so we did the whole acid reflux. That didn't solve it. So I ended up solving it myself by going on YouTube and looking at this guy who used to be a veterinarian, and he's doing something else now, but he's still in the animal care part of it. And he gave me an idea, so that's what I've been doing, and it's been working great. But anyway, she'll meow and she'll want out. Like a few minutes ago, she'll go out. So I put on my shoes, put on my flannel right here, and we go outside, and it's very frosty here. But she wants to eat the grass. It's the bladed razor grass, that sharp stuff. She will not eat any grass that comes from a store that I buy her. My other 2 cats will eat that, no problem. But Ziva is very particular. Ziva will not take it. If I were to take some grass from outside, bring it in, and drop it off, she won't eat it. She has to pick her own blades. So I walk her around the yard, and she's sitting there, and she turns into a kitten. I mean, she is just so friendly and purring, and it's like, dude, I am freezing out here. Hurry up and get your grass. So my plan is I walk her to the far end of the yard. She'll start eating some grass, and I'll walk away. Well, I've only been able to get away with this once and go inside the house. But now, as soon as I start walking away, she'll walk away with me. So she's smart. I let her out one time because she wanted out like 3 or 4 different times, and I got tired of it. So I left her out. And when I leave her out, I have a deadbolt on my door as well as a regular handle. And if the deadbolt is not in place and it's not locked, that means she's still outside. I did that here a few days ago, and I totally forgot about her. I usually send a notice with Alexa to help remind me. And I didn't do that. And at 2 o'clock, I went to sleep for 4 hours. There she was, and Misty was up like, Mom, you forgot somebody, Mom. Yep, there she was. But she still wants out. So, and now she won't go out unless I step out of the door. And I've done it before to where I step out the door and then she gets out and goes a few feet ahead of me, and then I'll turn around and go back in the house and, and trick her. Now she won't even go out until I go out and start closing the door and whatnot. So she's very smart. She doesn't like being out there. There was a male cat that came around, one of the neighbors, and she didn't like that very much. They didn't get in a fight, but she knows she's old and she won't be able to win a fight. She's very healthy, 20 pounds, big old belly on her, but she's a big cat. She's mixed from a big cat anyway, says the vet, because her paws are huge. So now that, you know, I go out there, she doesn't want anything to do with anybody. You know, I don't let her out when the bucks are out there because I don't need the bucks being stupid. So I will go out there with her and walk around the yard and show her grass clumps. And I told her, hurry up. If that's what it takes, and so be it. But she threw up one time last night or this morning. But it's a lot better than it has been. And then she has a bunch of acne on her chin, and it started going to one of her ears, which was a weird thing. And took her to the vet for that. And they took scrapings, looked under the microscope, and they said no, there was nothing concerned, no bacteria, nothing like that. They thought it was just acne, so they recommended me having not Health Science, or Science Diet, one of those expensive foods that they have. And I was like, no, I'm not paying $50 a bag. So she just recommended changing out the plastic. So they have a stainless steel bowl, ceramic food dish. Where their food comes in is a plastic bag. So what good is that? It's a different kind of plastic. I don't think it's a plastic thing myself. I think it's the dyes in the food and stuff now that she's older. So I went from one cat food to another, which is sensitive stomach and skin. Switching her back over to that because Walmart does not keep anything in stock. And every time I get a good delivery of a certain cat food from Chewy, oh, I love leaving my scanner on. Don't you love that? Well, that was an interesting call. I have both my new phone and my old phone, so I can alternate when I'm watching and doing these chats. And that was our local police scanner, and they said that there was an RP, which is a reporting party, went into the McDonald's bathroom and found a thin female laying on the floor crying. She had injuries to her face, and the RP went to go talk to the McDonald's managers and employees, and they said they won't do anything about it. So they're calling medical to find out what's going on with her and what have you. This world is turned upside down, I tell you what. And speaking of that, have you, in your state, if you can let me know, do you have your Walmart and Safeway and whatever other stores? We only have a Walmart and Safeway here. But if you have those, do they lock up all their alcohol? Ours are totally locked up all the way. All the cabinets are all the alcohol cabinets are in, alcohol is in the cabinets. That's what I'm trying to spit out. Is that the way you guys have it too? Because we've had a lot of thefts at our Safeway for alcohol. So now our Walmart and Safeway are doing it. We have another one, it's called Susanville Supermarket. They haven't done it, but I haven't been there in months. So who knows if they've done it and get ahead of times. But it just will push those who like to steal from one place over to their area. So maybe they're going to have to do it. They put the more expensive behind glass and lock key, but to put the entire selection of your hard alcohol behind a door, glass door, that is so stupid. But people started going into Walmart and drinking it there on the site. It's like, what has come around our town? And then I hear them on the scanner. I just dropped a needle on the floor. Saying, you know, male subjects will be filling their cart up with alcohol and going into a van that has no plate in this direction and that direction, and it's just incredible. You have to steal alcohol. And then over at Walmart, the other thing we have locked up is the men's underwear and socks, apparently. I don't know what that's about. Is that because we have a bunch of homeless here and they've been stealing it to stay warm or something? I'm not sure. But that's a weird thing to lock up. And then over at Walmart in our crafting area, there's all those plastic bags and certain theft items, I guess, have been locked up. But pretty soon our whole entire store is going to be nothing but locked up, and we're going to have people there with keys and, you know, to help us get to our products. But my question is, if you have a bunch of people who want alcohol, say 5 people, and one of those people is kind of, you know, you're kind of leery because they, you know, they look homeless or they don't want to, they don't look like they're trustworthy, whatnot. Do you tell them to step back and let you take care of this person first? Do you deny their request for alcohol? Do you walk up to the register and hand it to the person who's going to ring it up? How far are you going to go? Just hand it to them? You know, I got mine handed to me, but you know, all you have to do is hand it to them and then they walk out the door. So you didn't prevent anything. You're going to have to start, you know, taking it and bringing it to a cashier, even if you're trustworthy. And then you're probably going to be asked, have your alcohol purchases at the end so that we can carry it up to the counter and there's not, you know, a mess of bottles for different people up there and whatnot. It's getting ridiculous. So, and it is hard to get a hold of people to get alcohol. I've been lucky for the last 2 times. And then on our Safeway, if you want alcohol, we have self-checkouts. We have 6 self-checkouts, and obviously you can't do alcohol there. So the gal who was doing the self-checkout had to come over and do the alcohol, and then she had to find somebody else to replace her at the self-checkout. I was like, wow, this is going to be ridiculous trying to find somebody. I couldn't believe it. It's like everything is being locked up now. The rum, the brandy, the vodka, everything, even if it's a cheap little thing. But yeah, wonder how much Safeway lost in all their alcohol issues and if they got anything recovered. So yeah, share your stories if you have anything in your town like that, and that's very interesting. So what would they do if they are not sure on a person's demeanor? Would they say, okay, I have to take this over to the cashier, I'll be there when you're ready to check out? You know, because you just hand it to them, then they can walk out. Now what? How are you going to judge who's going to do that? Are they capturing those people who did take it? Are they prosecuting? Do they waste the alcohol when they're done, or do they return it because it's not been opened? Because the policy, if you were to purchase alcohol, even though you didn't open it and spend 5 minutes, you go back in and say, you know, I decided I didn't want this because I shouldn't be drinking anyway. They're sorry, you can't return alcohol. So that's going to be the same difference. They're going to have to eat it up and destroy perfectly good bottles. So that's that story. We went from Ziva wanting her grass and being picky down to alcohol being locked up at stores now. I went uptown last week. No, because we're still on Sunday, but sometime, I think it was Friday. And I passed by the hotel. It's a historic hotel, 1900s. We had some people living there, I want to say, at last. But if not, somebody caught a woman going in there and causing a fire. So she has been arrested. And there's been a big ordeal because the guy who recently bought that hotel for restoration wants to keep part of it for historic reasons, like keep part of the front and then build around the rest. The other reason is they were too quick to want to destroy it. It happened on November 1st. I don't know what day that was. Say if it's on a Friday. Then they wanted to destroy it on that following Monday that quickly. Well, the attorney for the suspect said, we haven't even figured out, you know, why she did it. Was it a mental state? Was there a murder committed? Are there people who were living in there that are still in there that died? And we need to make sure that, you know, there's all those counts present. So they postponed it for a couple of times. And then they went to go destroy part of the background. So the side street for it and the lane next to the sidewalk is all closed off. So they did take apart some of it. They brought over canines, and I guess canines were hitting on 2 different areas. But other than that, it's just sitting there. So I went uptown to go pay a bill, came back and went to the side street that faces it, took a few pictures, and it's going to be it. It hurts. Then there's a real estate office right next to it, just a little tiny building. That was destroyed totally also. So there it sits. Don't know why. Our town is, I don't know how to describe it because I can't remember what town lives where, but these, like if you go to Virginia City and it's a cute little well-built, in the middle of nowhere, slow country desert type town, that's the way we are. We have 3 miles. We have a lot of historic hotels. We have motels that have ran down, that have been attempted murders in. We've had a couple of, what do they call them? They're not honey farms. They're heroin, the honey pot, whatever it's called. We've had a couple of explosion labs in a couple of the hotel rooms. Different hotel had the attempted murder of the guy. Never heard the outcome, whether he lived or not. And that hotel is on my street. I take that street and go right by the hotel before I go to work. They graffitied several days after the attempted murder on the side of the motel. The motel's sign is all cracked and missing, and they had junk vehicles there, and now their overhang from the office to the sidewalk was dangerously coming undone, so they finally took that down. That whole place is so dilapidated, it's just embarrassing. We have another hotel that's further uptown called Knights Inn. It had a nice Chinese restaurant years ago attached to it. That has been closed. There's a big, huge fence around it. They're restoring that. It's got all the furniture outside. So somebody's doing something with that, hopefully bringing it good. Across from there was our Rite Aid. Rite Aid was never good in this town. They couldn't get anything right, even though I've had them for over 10 years. They couldn't get your prescriptions right. Their drive-thrus were breaking down. They moved to different places, and they finally closed. So that's an empty building. So we have quite a bit of construction, empty, destroyed buildings in our town, and I barely go uptown only just to pay my bill, but I don't go shopping up there. There's a bookstore up there. There's a dog grooming place. I don't know what else is there. Eatery of some sort. I just haven't been up there in years as of like walking around Main Street. They wanted to years ago. I don't know if it's still going to happen. They put out a big old survey in our city, and they asked how many of us would like to have these certain things done. They wanted to redo our Main Street. They wanted all our sidewalks pulled up and put into old bricks to make it look like an old merchant town. And then some lamp posts and some trees. And they wanted a 5-way here on the side street going to our casino. They wanted all these improvements. And I marked no, because we barely have any police. Sometimes you'll only have 1 cop on duty for a whole night. And then you have vandals that just turn around and vandalize it. So you put all that money in it, and you can't catch them, prosecute them, make it worth it to make them pay it back to do that. So I voted no, and I have never heard whether that went through or not. Years ago, we had these, it's called Pansera Plaza, and we had these fountains, and they were running. And inside the fountain, somebody thought it would be funny to put soap in there. And the newspaper office was right there, that you walk out the door and it's the fountains were right there. And they would take pictures, and they would take pictures of graffiti, and they would take pictures of all this vandalism. I'm like, do you realize what you're doing? You're advertising for him. If Joe Blow belongs to this gang, then you're advertising for him because you're putting him in the paper and recognizing his gang, and he's going to just get all that more motivated. You shouldn't even put that in the newspaper or anything. It's very sickening to encourage that. So there's been vandalism, repairs, murals have been destroyed because of vandalism of They're called SWB, the Susan Wannabes, or Wanna Boys, or White Boys, or whatever they want to call themselves. So I have no idea who they consist of, but there's just a little bit of crime going on, and doesn't seem like we have enough police force, or the system is broken down to where they just get let go, or nothing happens and they don't learn their lessons. So it's pretty sad. I can't deal with a big city, so that's why I'm staying here. It is what it is. We have an old theater. I don't know if it's still open, but we have a brand new one. The same owner opened one up uptown. And before they put the barrier in, what it is our highway that comes down. It has a steep curve coming around. We have all the signs you can, need before you reach that curb, saying slow down, 15-mile-an-hour curve, sharp turn, blah, blah, blah. Before we had the guardrail inserted, we've had semis that tipped over coming down there, even in dry weather. They tipped over and they went into the theater. So they finally put in a guardrail. Well, semis are going to, topple over that or push that guardrail aside. So we've still had accidents up there, the poor little guy. It's like, yeah, that's going to happen. Nobody reads. Nobody understands the situation. We have semis that try to go up that hill to go out of town, and it's way too steep, so you need your chains there if it's icy. Yeah, we have a lot of homeless here. I don't know where the heck they came from, but yeah, they've been causing a lot of problems. We have a bowling alley. Years ago, I was able to play in there, and it was a nice place. Then it closed down for several years. A couple years ago, someone tried to reopen it up. It wasn't doing that good. They closed it down. It's been closed down. The homeless broke into it and did whatever they did inside. So now it's all boarded up, and all the boards have all the junk in front of them, and the homeless stay there on the outside. So it's a dilapidated town. Oh, man. Whatever. Wheelie this magic trick. It's a magic trick. Da, 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 da. Boom. But I'm just in my little room and doing cross-stitching, and I got some more time off in December coming. And then in June of next year, I've got to go up to Oregon to family and go through some property stuff. Because they're going to be moving over to South Dakota, so my brother and I are going to go through and get some stuff that we want or need or whatnot, and help pack and do the stuff. And then her son is going to come pick her up and move her over to South Dakota, and no more Oregon coast, so that's good. Other than that, that's all I've got. It's not very entertaining around here. I don't know how much cross-stitching I'm going to get. I have a lot of projects, and they're just overwhelming, and I don't know where to start. And when I try to start one thing, it just gets overwhelming. So I will let you guys go. Any comments, questions, leave them down below. This is all the threads for that one. And then I will get back to you whenever I do. And I guess that'll be it for now. Bye-bye.